Welcome, George Ellis, to the Take Flyt Podcast. George is founder and CEO of Model Enterprises, helping sports executives and organizations grow with intention. George, great to have you with me.
Ryan, I appreciate you having me on, my man. Thank you.
Yeah. So, George, you and I met back in college over 20 years ago. And at the time, I know we had a lot in common with hoops and business and music. And we chatted a couple weeks ago, again, catching up for the first time in over 20 years, and found that we have even more in common, kind of with the whole mindset of doing the things you believe you want to do in life and kind of pursuing those and pursuing your potential in life. Now, I want to ask you before we get too far down the road, can you still dunk a basketball on 10 feet?
Ha! That's a great question.
You're thinking about it. There's got to be a long answer to this.
Most people don't know this, and some people do that are connected to me on Facebook. I actually ruptured my Achilles almost 2 years ago.
Ooh. Kevin Durant.
I was playing. Yeah, basically. I was mad into the game. Like, I was in such good shape, and my body was like, nope.
You were playing in a game when it happened?
I was playing in the game, 4 minutes left in the game, mounting a comeback, and it happened.
Carrying the team on your shoulders.
I had the team on my back, man. We were down by 4 minutes left. Oh, it was go time. I was playing great too. Second half, I was playing great. And was up on a break. This guy was a little bit behind me. I caught it on the 3-point line. I ripped hard to go, and it was just like,
that was it. You knew right away?
That was it. I felt it right away. Right away.
Man.
So, on a good day, I haven't tried yet. But on a good day, like, I've been working out a lot lately. Give me like a couple of weeks, like a really intense, like, stretching and intentionality. Yeah, I could get it down still.
So you were still dunking before you ruptured your Achilles?
Absolutely.
Easy?
Easily.
At the age of what?
43.
When that happened, were you 43?
No, 42. 42
when that happened.
Yeah.
And you're telling me today, at the age of 44, 43, 44?
43 now, yes. 43 now.
Couple weeks, you could throw down.
I think, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw that challenge out to you.
It's a good challenge. I like it.
I want to see I want to see it on video.
Oh, yeah. I can do that.
Okay.
I can do that. Yeah, that's a good challenge. I actually would like to. I haven't committed to this goal yet, but I would love to be able to dunk when I'm 50.
I was going to ask you that if you had a goal in mind of an age that you want to still be dunking.
Yeah, I think at 50, my son, who is he likes to play a little bit. He's learning at second grade. I got to show him Dad can throw one down.
Dude, that's awesome.
I'm gonna be his hero if I can throw that thing down at 50.
You'll be my hero. Honestly. I'm sure there's ex-NBA players that can't throw it on at 50.
You're right.
So, hey.
You're right.
It'll keep you going towards something.
All right. It's a challenge.
Cool, man. All right. Well, we'll eventually get to your Take Flyt moments, which is what this podcast is all about. But why don't you start and tell me a little bit about Model Enterprises and how that all began?
It's a great question. So, man, back in 2000, I want to say, 2014 or 15, I decided to go back to school and get my master's degree in coaching and athletic administration. So I was coaching high school basketball and really starting to lean into sports management, potentially athletic director. And I had this opportunity to go do some research at the National Sports Center in Blaine.
Mm-hmm.
And they were looking to build a basketball facility and needed some help determining the feasibility of putting something together. And so anytime they build a facility at the National Sports Center, they always like to do some research, do kind of a full study and analysis, and then really kind of crawl before they run and, get some programming, build a smaller facility or something like that. And that's really where it started. I started with a consulting contract with the Sports Center while I was in college in my master's program, and it turned into an opportunity to consult, to present. They actually hired me on full time to kind of lead this basketball development kind of arm of what they're looking to do. We built kind of a facility, a smaller facility there. I managed it, I ran it. And then that's just kind of where kind of my sports career just kind of started kind of taking off. Um, from there, I took a role at the Minnesota Timberwolves and Lynx, managing all their high school and youth basketball platforms. So we ran over 100 events a year,
Oh my
programming,
gosh.
the Target Center, running games, camps all over the Midwest, Iowa, North Dakota. I had the coolest job in the NBA, I
Oh my
think,
gosh.
personally.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
was fun. It was fun. So
That's
it's kind of a
incredible.
blending between
Yeah.
kind of the development side of what I really loved, and then just running high level programs, and helping kind of grow the business.
Great. Do you have any examples over the past, 15 years or so of companies or executives you've worked with or people that you've kind of helped, the companies that you've maybe helped shaped or kind of get them in the direction they want to be headed?
It was them. It's been like a handful of smaller kind of private, you've never heard of them kind of opportunities.
Sure.
I actually have an opportunity that will be my biggest opportunity if we close the deal on it uh, right now, actually in the works.
That's very exciting.
So I can't talk about it because it hasn't happened yet,
Of
and
course.
it's still confidential. But this will be, if it does work out, a very amazing project with some amazing leaders, and it'll be a little bit of everything: impact, creating opportunities for others in sport, a lot of really cool things.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Stay
Appreciate it.
tuned, huh?
So far, so good.
Okay.
I'm a closer, so
I know you are.
that's one thing that I do well. So we'll see. We'll see
Despite
though.
despite the Achilles, you're still the closer.
Right.
All right,
That that wasn't my day.
let's go back in time a little bit now. Take me back as far as you want, but think about maybe one of your earliest take flight moments in your life where, that turning point happened for you and you decided you wanted to kind of, this breakthrough where you went ahead and did the things that you wanted to do in life despite maybe fears and other challenges that may have presented themselves to you.
Yeah. I personally think I've had several take flight moments in my life. And I know that's different from a lot of different people. Some people have a moment or a point in time where they're like, this was it. For me, obviously life is for most people a journey, right? We go through kind of different rhythms, different ebbs and flows and things like that. Um, I think when in 2009, was in transition in my life and left corporate America, was working corporate sales, and I was ready to do something more fulfilling in my life, something different.
Mm-hmm.
And after doing some soul searching, and I'm a spiritual guy, so just doing some praying, I felt the call to coach. I felt the call to work back in the community that I grew up in. I grew up in North Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to go work for this after school program and was working at this school. And the school, they're looking for a boys basketball coach at a middle school. And I'd never coached before, but decided to jump in and just had a passion for helping young boys, in the community. And I remember it vividly. I had 17 kids on the team. I couldn't cut anybody. And it was one of the most.
George, you're kind of breaking up a little bit.
So that particular moment, and it was awesome. I
I'll let you
had.
know when you come back here. Hold on a second.
Oh,
Still frozen for me.
How about now?
Try talking now.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah, it was kind of just, all of a sudden it just like froze for a second. I'm not sure if the connection went out. You were talking about, I think 17 kids in the team.
I had 17 kids on the team. I
Just
couldn't
pick up
cut
where you left
anybody.
off there then. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I had 17 kids on the team. I couldn't cut anybody. And they were like, you got it. You got it. You got these guys. But that was a pivotal moment for me because it really was that first opportunity that I was responsible for other people besides for myself, right? And young minds, more than anything. And what it really unlocked for me was number one, it unlocked my heart to be able to see these young boys where they were at and just the needs that they had, just being able to get to know them, learn their stories, see how they grew up, where they're coming from, and then help them kind of realize their own personal hoop dreams. I had two kids on the team that were eighth graders that could dunk, like legit dunk, talking about dunking. So there were some talented young people, young guys on the team, and then there were some guys that weren't that talented but just wanted to be a part of the team, and so just helping for them, set a standard that maybe they've never seen before, and then for me, helping me formulate a philosophy of what the standard is or what the standard could be. And that standard was much more, even beyond basketball, it was really more of a life standard of, hey, here's a way. If you want to get here, here's the way to get here, and, for us, it was grade checks every week, right? For us, it was showing up to practice on time. For us, it was, hey, pick up your teammate when your teammate falls on the ground. For us, it was, let's be good sports, right? Let's make sure that we respect our opponents, right? We want to beat them, but let's learn how to respect each other and respect each other's game. And so that was a pivotal moment for me that really kind of unlocked this growing others piece that has been inside of me for a long time.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. And yes, I'm sure, as you know, being a coach is so much more than just winning basketball games, losing basketball games. Like you're developing life skills for these players, these athletes, these kids that you are kind of overseeing for that period of time. And
Mm-hmm.
not only are you becoming an influential person in their life, but I'm sure along the way you're learning a lot more about yourself too, and how people respond to your message. What's the best way to connect? All these different things that you may not have had a chance to experience in your life without coaching, and then you get into this role, and all of a sudden people are looking up to you as this voice that, yeah, you're the basketball coach, but you're all of a sudden a piece of their day and their life, and it's the person that they're going to hopefully think back on years from now as an influential person in their life that taught them life skills. And like you had mentioned, being a good teammate, picking teammates up off the floor, coming to the games, practices on time, all these different things that are much more than just the game of basketball, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we've talked about basketball coach, being a mentor. What else in your mind or in your life that comes to your mind that has been a Take Flyt moment in the past 20, 30 years for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Another good question. Another kind of pivotal Take Flyt moment that, for me was the birth of my firstborn son, and or just child in general. I have a son that's 7. His name is Genesis. Very specifically named the beginning for me, and that was a game changer for me in my life, because it just really renewed my sense of purpose for you know for what I'm supposed to be doing, and just kind of where my legacy lies. I think most dads, I think most dads, you know, really aspire to have their own son, right? Somebody who can bear their name, somebody who can, just, I can't teach my daughter how to be a girl, like like my wife can, right?
Yeah.
But I can show my son the way to be a man and a young man, and so it's just a little bit different. Love them both dearly, but it's just a little bit different when you have your son, have a son, but just him being the first and me, really shifting the focus on me and what I'm trying to do. And now it's more so of like, gosh, what am I doing that's going to impact him or them down the line? Both of my children, all of my children, all three of my children. And that was a game changer for me. That just kind of unlocked perspective. It unlocked a whole nother level of like work ethic for me. And, you know, I remember when I was single or didn't have any kids, every Friday after work, I would come home, I would take a nap. I was a hard worker, but I would relax, I would rest, I would go
Mm-hmm.
hang out with my friends. When you have a child and you bring a child into the world, it's not about you anymore.
No.
And if you think it's still about you, um, my respectful opinion, you're kind of missing the mark as being able to bear someone that looks like you into this world. But it does really become about, okay, everything that I'm doing is really for these young people that I brought into this world.
Mm-hmm.
The work that I put in, the time, the effort, the things that I'm trying to set up, it's not about us anymore. It's really about them. You still obviously want to maintain who you are because they need to see the strongest version of you that
Mm-hmm.
they could possibly see. But in terms of just the moves that you make and kind of how you operate, you have somebody else that you have in mind. And so for me, you know, I thought that I was tired. Nah, I wasn't tired
No.
before. I thought maybe I couldn't do this. Yeah, I could have done that.
Yeah.
It just really shifts the perspective and because you're totally reliant on this person or these young people that really have to have you in order to live, in order to survive, in order to operate, in order to be guided and shown the way. So very much a take flight moment for me.
That's wonderful, and it's 100% spot on. You're right. When you have kids, there's no more excuses as a
Right.
dad or as a human. Because they're watching and they see, and just from my own personal experience with my dad, like I remember so much more of what I saw him do
Mm,
more so than what he told me.
mm,
Like I remember as a kid, like just like watching my dad interact with people or
mhm.
seeing how he treated my mom, without ever him saying like something inspirational or motivational to me. It was
Right.
all the actions. And it was
Mhm,
always a
mhm.
reminder to me that kids are watching and they notice everything that you do and because they want to emulate you. And
Right.
it's a daily reminder to just, you have to be your best self. And not every day is going to be great. You're not going to feel your best all the time, but if you can at least give the perception that, you're a good person, you're a good father, you're a good husband, all those things that'll stick with the kids for a long, long time. And hopefully that
Absolutely.
trend trickles down to when they become hopefully parents and husbands and wives and all those things too. So it's a great reminder and thanks for
Absolutely.
sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Most
Yeah.
definitely.
So you've talked about, you've had a lot of moments in your life, these take flight moments. And if you want to share more, please do so. But I want to maybe talk about a little bit when those moments maybe be on the door, you might be on the doorstep of a new take flight moment. How do you know in your mind, in your experience, when it's time to reinvent yourself?
Mm, that's a great question. When is it time to reinvent yourself? I think for me, I think there's several times where you could find kind of in your life where it might be time to reinvent yourself. Um, sometimes you get in a place where, and I've had this happen in my life where maybe you're being guided by somebody, or you're working for, supporting, in a situation where, you're in a role and you start to outgrow the person that you're working for or under. That could be a great time, to reinvent yourself, right? Um, and it's not to say negatively that you're trying to leapfrog over this person or but just sometimes there's certain times where it's like, okay, you know, I'm in a place where I've kind of reached my capacity, um, and in order to continue to grow, I've got to really, really work to reinvent myself, you know, and that might mean, doing things a little different, really, improving your habits and just how you go about your life every single day. Um, I think there are certain times where, I've been in times where in my life and where stuff just isn't working,
Mhm.
right? You just hit a fork in the road where you're running down a certain path and you're running a certain race, and you're like, this isn't working for me anymore, right? You know, I'm not seeing the results that I'm looking for. I'm not finding the success that I'm looking for. Maybe I'm going against my own personal core values of what I want my life to be. And I think that's a big one too. When a lot of times in our careers and our work lives and our businesses, we get to these places sometimes where you're like, I'm not showing up the person that I want to be anymore.
Mhm.
Even though this all looks good and maybe people think that I should be going down this path, like this isn't what I really truly want out of my life, right?
That's right.
And I think that happens to a lot of people, and I think a lot of people have a hard time developing enough courage to, number one, realize that, and then number two, having enough courage to actually do something different.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of people that are stuck.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that are stuck, in a job, in a relationship, in a situation, in whatever their stuckness is. I can't lose any more weight, right? You're
Mhm.
stuck, right? Or I can't get over this hump. Um, where you really have to stop and say, what do I really, if I continue down this track and I look into the future hourglass, you know, here's what my life is going to look like in the next X years.
Yeah.
And am I okay with that? You
Mhm.
know, and am I okay with that? I don't think a lot of people either get to the point where they're real enough with themselves, or it just doesn't hurt bad enough for them to do anything different.
I love that. That's a good eye opener. I haven't really thought too much about that, but it's the perspective of where I'm at today. Am I okay with my life being like this 5, X number of years down the road?
Hmm.
And it really just kind of puts you in that mindset of like, well, today I'm 45, in 10 years I'll be 55. I'm still doing this. Like, is my life better off in the same place 10 years from now than it is today, or do I need to make some changes? And I think you mentioned also too, like who we doing this all for too? Like, are we doing this to please other people, or are we trying to improve ourselves? Because I know personally, and I think for a lot of people out of college, you start entering that field of work that your degree says, right? In
Hmm.
business management, marketing, design, accounting, finance. You're doing it because you paid all this money into this education that you feel you owe it to yourself to go down that field. Whether you find fulfillment or not, I don't know. But I think people stay in that track for a long, long time because they know they invested that money into that degree.
Right.
And like you said, it takes courage, and it's the fear of failure. It's the fear of what other people might think, but at some point there's a breaking point. Like, do you
Hmm.
just go out on the road and live the life that you feel like your degree says you should be doing? Or do you say, you know what, I got to cut my losses here, reflect, and go down this path?
Right. Right.
And unfortunately for a lot of people, like we're talking, this path down here could be 60 years down the road, and their identity is tied up in the one thing that they went to school for. Or
Mhm.
maybe you cut your losses and change your direction after 5, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is. And all of a sudden you have new fulfillment and new energy and zest for life. And now you're doing the things that you're meant to do based on what you feel versus what other people or what a degree might tell you to do.
Right. No, that's a good point. And I think that there's a lot of people that, there's almost kind of in our society a taboo to starting over,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, you're
Like
right.
there's financial implications to starting over that are taboo, or you're going to be behind, societal pressures, right? You're going to be behind everybody else because you made a decision to start over.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's 10 years down the line in their careers. I mean, just think about some of the people we went to St. Thomas with,
Yep.
right? You have some very, some people that are in roles that are, executive level roles, right? Or they're running their own companies,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or, whatever the case may be. Um, Not to say that there's anything wrong with those things, but, to start over and to start at a place that gives you energy and life. I mean, that's what life is all about, right? We should wake up every day and have energy and zest to do what we are called to do, what is in our heart to do.
Yeah.
And I promise you, when you have that energy and that zest, you're going to be the number one, the best version of yourself every single day.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be much healthier than you would be doing anything else because you
Mm-hmm.
you have the energy to do so and you're excited about it. And then, everybody, there's this big push to retire and to have a bunch of money and sit around and be old, or have a bunch of money and travel and be old. You know, I really kind of look at things like do things that are your life's work, right? That you could do for the rest of your life, right? Can, you know, do you have enough zest and energy to, be a culinary artist as you are for the rest of your life? Like if you're 80 years old and, you pulled out your knives, will that still give you the same amount? If it does, keep doing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Continue to do what gives you zest and zeal,
That's right.
rather than getting old and deciding, well, put my 30 years in, I'm done. Because we know what the statistics usually look like when that happens. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
most people don't make it.
Yeah.
Our hands are meant for doing stuff, right? Our
Yep.
man, our minds are meant to continue to work and
Yep.
and do what we're called to do.
Yeah, you're right.
My personal belief.
No, that's a great reminder there too. Well, talking about um, waking up every morning and feeling the zest for life. Let me ask you this: what's one habit you have that you can't start your day without?
Oh man. So this is new, and for a long time I didn't think I could wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning until I had to wake up earlier than 4 o'clock in the morning.
Why is that?
Children was one,
Uh-huh.
and then really rough life circumstances was another one
Okay.
that forced me to wake up early every single day to be a dad and a provider. And when I started doing that, now I I got to get up early and get out. So every day, and this is not to boast or brag or anything like that. This is just what I'm doing, and it's working for me.
Mhm.
I set my alarm for 4 a.m. and I get up, put my shoes on, put my clothes on, latch my dog up to the leash, and we go out for a walk. And it's my time. It's dark outside. It's peaceful. It's quiet. I reflect. I meditate. I pray. I walk. I get my mindset for the day. And that's one thing that I cannot live without. Usually when I come back, I'll do a little devotion, read a couple of scriptures, to get my mindset on the things that I've got to overcome for the day. And that's one thing that's working for me.
Great. Yeah. Well, and I love hearing that. And I've tried that so many times. I got to add, I want you to be real with me. Is every day easy for you to get up at 4 a.m.?
Absolutely not.
Okay. That's the
Absolutely
truth.
not.
That's the right answer, but that's the dedication. And that's what the commitment is to what you do to be your best self. And
Yes.
then not every morning is going to be, it's hard for me to get out of bed at 8, 4 hours after you get up. So,
Yeah.
but you're right. I think it's really important. I've heard more and more people talk about this, that if you can have that kind of that time alone in the morning, that quiet mind, that time to reflect, it does so much for you, and it does so much for your perspective on the day.
Yeah.
It just gets you off on a good foot. And
Yeah.
I might try that. I might go a couple hours after 4, but I might try that. And
Hey, whatever time works for you. I would say is like, for me, within the last year, I've been on a more intentional self-care journey, and that's been a part of one of the habits that I've taken on as part of my self-care journey is like literally, again, kids, wife, work, projects,
yeah,
dog, self-care time, like time where this is just me. Nobody else is invited into this space. It's me, because I need that time. And I don't think enough people will carve out that time for themselves. And it doesn't have to be at that time.
mm-hmm.
That time works really well for me.
Yeah.
But finding that time for you, I think is critical.
Yeah.
It's absolutely critical.
And we've mentioned it a few times on this podcast with a few different guests, but I'm a huge believer in that you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others.
Yes.
Because if you're not your best self, you can't be your best self for somebody else.
Yes.
So that's great. I'm glad you're doing that. I'm going to commit to it. You can hold me accountable. What would you recommend for like a good window of days before I can start feeling like this is something I can do every single day?
Every
Become
single
a habit.
day. I mean,
7
I
days,
think it's
14 days.
I think it takes 21 days to develop a habit, but I think you can do it off of 7 days, to be honest with you.
All right.
Just commit to 7 days in a row. Get a week in.
Okay. I'm going to do that and I'll text you.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Hey,
Day 3 is going to get hard, but keep on pushing.
it's like the cold shower routine, right? Those first few days are tough.
That's right.
All right, a couple more questions for you. We'll get you out of here. Do you have a book? You're a big book or podcast guy?
I am.
Give me one or two that maybe change your perspective, or it can be something you're listening to now or reading now, or something years ago that kind of sat with you and something you come back to.
So I'm reading a book right now that part of my self-care journey has been to start to go to therapy. So, for a lot of men, highly recommend it. We have a lot of things on these shoulders every day, right? As fathers, as husbands, as dads, and finding uh someone to share and help guide and navigate this kind of best version of manhood and fatherhood and husbandhood. Highly recommend it. So, and I would say this is not only for Black men. This can apply to all of us, even our
Yeah.
Caucasian brothers like yourself. But self-care for Black men is one that I'm reading right now. Very like 100 applicable things that you could do, um, you know, for yourself to improve your self-care is a book that I really like.
Yeah.
Another book that I really love is a book called Essentialism.
Okay.
Essentialism is, gosh, I want to say it's Greg. It's Greg McCown.
Mm-hmm.
It's the pursuit, the disciplined pursuit of less is
Of
a
less.
great, really good book. Yes, really, really good book. Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less. Really,
Jotting it down right now.
um, yeah, it's really about simplifying things, doing more with less. We're so conditioned to take more, to gather more information, to do more. It's like, no, we only have so much capacity, right? Like we only
Yeah.
have so much capacity. And so, taking the time that you have and being able to do more with it is critical, to being your best self. So I highly recommend that
Thank
book.
you.
Great book. Yeah.
Self-care for Black men. Is that what it was called?
Yes,
I might
sir.
just get that to put on my table to get reactions from people when they come
You
over.
should. I want you to. You should. No, but
Uh,
actually it's actually cool because I think some of the um most interesting people are people that look for at unknown or unlikely places for
yeah, it's a great point,
information.
actually.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even for me, like even as a basketball kind of guy and kind of what I grew up in, like to look at soccer as a model is like there's so much great stuff that those guys are doing over there that basketball is not doing.
Yeah.
You can learn in a lot of different unlikely places for sure.
That's a great reminder. Hey, can I ask you a quick question about the therapy?
Absolutely.
So is that something that you kind of discovered on your own, or I mean, that's something I've thought about before, and I've something
Hmm.
I'm getting better with. I haven't ever gone to therapy, but it's something I've accepted more. As because for the longest time, I feel like I was invincible, and I was, nothing
Hmm.
can really help me. I can figure it out myself type of person.
Right.
But over the years, with having kids and my wife talking more about it, like it's something I'm open to. So maybe
Hmm.
talk to me about how that all came to be for you.
Yeah. No. I mean, I so I've gone to therapy. So my parents are therapists.
Okay.
So I grew up in an environment and it wasn't a perfect environment by any means. None of it is, but just getting used to like helping or seeing people guided through life in a way, situations or struggles or addictions or just navigating other perspectives that sometimes you just don't have when you're trying to internalize and try to figure out it yourself. So I kind of saw that. So just several times in my life I've been in therapy, and I would recommend it for anybody that's married. Any guy that's married,
Mm-hmm.
go to therapy. Like be open to therapy. And it doesn't mean you did something wrong and you need to go to therapy. It's, hey, we all have blind spots. We all could and should need other perspectives. We all, again, like as a husband and a father, we bear a lot on these shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And 100% wives and mothers do as well. And I still wouldn't trade being a dad for being a mom any day. But I think, a lot of guys, we forget that because we're just so used to it. Like I mean, there's just so many things that we're all battling with, right? It could be anything. It could be anything. Um, my purpose as a father, you know what I mean? Like overcoming temptations. It could mean like really learning how to connect with my wife on an emotional level, which a lot of us have a hard time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're so strong. Sometimes wife just wants you to feel this with me, and that's hard. And so even in therapy, like learning how to feel and being able to express that, I'm learning that a lot. How to talk about it, how to empathize with it, how to see it, how and ultimately, especially as a father who's raising a daughter, right? I want my daughter to choose the right one. And so if there's things inside of me
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want her to choose in a man, I'll go to therapy just off of that, right? Because
Yeah.
I want my daughter to see like, hey, this isn't something that you should be looking for, right? Or this is how we navigate this when she starts to. She's only 5. We got a lot of time, hope. But
Yeah.
when she does, like, I want her to see, like, dad is becoming the best version of himself as possible, not only for himself, but also for you.
Mhm.
Right. And so I think our, as a father of a daughter, our, our daughters need to see us healing and healthy and whole. Because as we navigate even them again with their feelings, and as we, the way that we treat them and things like that, um, it doesn't mean that we're weaker by any means.
Mhm.
It, if anything, just empowers us more because we're more self-aware. We have more self-control. We understand different perspectives even more. We see our blind spots because your therapist is gonna respectfully check you on certain things
Mhm.
if you have a good relationship. So it's helped. I mean, hey, if I would recommend any guy in life, you know, it's okay. Talk
Yeah,
to somebody, navigate with somebody. You don't have to do this alone.
that's good, man. Thanks for sharing all that. Before we wrap up, I have one final question for you. This is some advice you can give to others, but any words of wisdom or um, encouragement you give to someone else that might be on the verge of taking flight in their life?
Yes. What I would say is, we are, I do truly believe that we are all called, for a purpose. And I believe the purpose is most definitely not just for us, but it's for other people. Um, if it was just for us, we would be on this earth by ourselves, right? We would be
Mhm.
on our own little planet. So, you know, what I've been leaning into, really more than anything is, getting back to the original self, our origin, right? You know, what we feel on the inside. And a lot of times it's probably something that we felt for a long time, but for whatever reason, stuff that we talked about before, right?
Mhm.
um, the pressure to get the degree, to stay in the job, to continue to do this because everybody else is doing this. Um, you know, what I've learned about life is we have the ability to be successful at anything, right? You can be successful at anything,
Mhm.
right? There's enough currency around this world where you can develop something, create something, work somewhere, and be okay, right? But not all of it is for us. Not all of it is for us. And one of my favorite quotes from Mark Cuban, he says, "Don't drown an opportunity." Right? Don't drown an opportunity. There's a lot of things that we could be doing, but there's only one thing that we're supposed to be doing in this moment right now. And so, getting back to your original self, getting back to the thing that gives you the most energy, and devoting and diving into that, in totality. um, you know, we only have one life. We only have 86,400 seconds in a day, 365 days in a year.
Mhm.
We have an hourglass that's tipped upside down, and the sand is running out, and we do not know when that sand is going to end in our lives. We don't. And so, kind of putting that in perspective, we all deserve to run run with what we feel in our hearts that we should do, and do it unapologetically, right? Do it without feeling that we've got to please somebody else. Yeah, we do things strategically, and maybe the timing will be better at this time, but plan on the takeoff, right? Plan the runway, get those wings together,
Yeah.
right? Prepare them, and start, making that motion towards taking off. We're all worth it. We're all worth it.
Beautifully said, George Ellis. George, we touched on a lot of subjects today. It was probably the podcast we've had the most various topics on, and I love that. I love how it just kind
Yeah,
of flowed naturally. And thank you for all your advice, your wisdom, your vulnerability, everything that you shared with us today.
absolutely. I really appreciate the time, and hopefully it helps one person.
I love that. Thank you, George Ellis, for joining the Take Flyt podcast. We'll see you all in the next one. Take flight.